Resident Evil Village's hands might make the top 5 of all first-person hands ever because these digits do it all. First up, these suckers are just pretty. They look more realistic than my own hands. You can see every hair follicle. He's got perfectly polished nails, trimmed evenly with clean cuticles, no evidence of broken bones or cuts. These aren't the hands of a man that's had a tough life, and Ethan's former job as a systems engineer out of Los Angeles speaks to that. These are the hands of an upper middle class guy, born and raised in placid, idealist American comfort and privilege. Even after the events of Resident Evil 7, Ethan clearly returned to a lifestyle in which hand grooming and maintenance are paramount. I'm reminded of Henry's big, stubby, middle-aged hands in Firewatch. A glance at them and you know what kind of existential crisis you're piloting. But we never see Ethan's face, and we don't need to. These hands tell us everything we need to know. They tell us Ethan kind of sucks. But this is storytelling, you know? Characters change, and with hands flying so high, so pretty, so early, you know their wings are about to melt and they're about to crash and burn. But by the end of Resident Evil Village, you get the impression that Ethan would stick his beautiful hands in a blender if it meant getting his daughter back. I can respect that.
Yes! Yes!
But we don't just get to know Ethan through his beautifully modeled and animated clappers. We get thematic movement through the awful things that happen to them.
When his fingers are bit off, the wedding ring stays on. That's love, baby.
And the first thing we do is hold Ethan's baby Rosemary, which imbues his hands with paternal powers and significance. They're not just for guns and knives and taking life away, but nurturing life as well. Profound. The Archstone, though, how many fingers does Ethan have left after they've been chewed on? Oh wait, count them. Yep, 8 fingies. Ethan's hands are also the player's envoys, the verb translation team that gifts the player with efficacy and autonomy in the game world. So every time they're chopped up and mangled, consciously or not, I'm worried I won't be able to handle a damn gun anymore or grip a knife. It's disempowerment theater squarely aimed at deeply embedded first-person PC game instincts. Ethan's hands are also some real knee slappers. If you're into body horror humor, that is. If you're not, that's probably a good thing. Therapy is, it's not cheap. In Resident Evil 7, the series went first person for the first time ever. Light gun arcade spin-offs aside. So when Ethan gets his hand chainsawed off by his girlfriend in the first hour, we're laughing. Why? It's a first-person game, so he might need those, and God, it's just totally unexpected. You don't see it coming. When Ethan wakes, it's been stapled back on and works just fine, without explanation. A goofy elbow in the ribs from video game logic, and another from the history of the whacked-out Resident Evil lore on the other side. So when Ethan's hand is mutilated in the first hour of Resi 8, it feels like a callback to the absurdity of Resi 7. Remember that? Neat, done, settled, moving on. Then, Lady D surprisingly slices your hand off once again, and Resi 8 doubles down on the stupefying body horror it surprised us with all those years ago.
That smells good. What's that?
Oh, hands off, mister.
And just like in Resi 7, the guy casually reattaches a limb with magic health juice. It rules. My favorite detail though, his jacket like perfectly reattaches too. It's sewed back on. It's lovely. Our guy's a damn action figure. Now we don't know what to expect. Anything goes, and it certainly does go. Ethan gets absolutely fucked up in Resi Village, one of gaming's best punching bags, even though the most we usually see of him are his hands. So when Ethan's hands are beat to shit, it's always gross, for sure. It's got that basic essential horror quality. But it's always funny, too. It's kind of how video games mimic that classic B-movie stress you feel when a horror protagonist walks toward the danger. Since we're in control, though, we can't really yell at ourselves for running headfirst into the maw. So to compensate, Capcom mutilates Ethan's hands and writes in a meek, understated, just outright stupid response most of the time.
She will grow to fully control the masses. And I must have her.
Fuck you, you crazy bitch! You coward! Come out and face me!
I'm reminded of Alien Isolation and how Amanda Ripley's delicate fingies have to turn endless knobs and press arbitrary buttons on retro-futuristic hardware, stuff that looks heavy and brutal, paying a time tax that spins up tension and frustration through visual design based on tech that already looks dated and slow. You're just upset with these computers the moment you see them, even if they look pretty cool. And Ethan's the dusty old computer of Resident Evil Village, and his resistance to natural logical responses in traumatic, stressful situations is a classic horror device.
Good. Man, screw this castle.
Flipping someone the bird in Star Citizen, picking shrapnel out of your arm in Far Cry 4, and now getting your stupid, beautiful hands slow cooked into carnitas. Ethan Winters, welcome to the First Person Hands Hall of Fame.